I wanted a basic 55 Chev, not a hard top. So I used a 150 toy of a 55 Chev American Graffiti. Nothing opened on it but the normal engine hood. So everything else had to be cut open, which in metal is a little bit more difficult than with plastic.
You heard right, he said metal. Model builder Cliff Reed is not starting with a plastic kit, he's starting with a die-cast metal car and modifying it. And because that's not difficult enough, wait till you hear the other challenge he sets for himself with this build. Plus, Cliff shares a metalworking tip at the end of the video. Doug White here for Model Car Muse. If you thought die-cast cars were finished models ready for display, Cliff Reed will tell you otherwise. A die-cast has an injection molded metal alloy body, making it more difficult to modify than plastic. We got a chance to talk with Cliff at the 40th NNL Nationals in Toledo.
So your key inspiration was to make it
NHRA-Legal. Lots of people make gasser models and have fun doing it, but they're not necessarily what would have been legal in 1962. So I followed a rule book all the way, which is totally unnecessary, but it was fun, right?
That's the challenge of the build.
Yeah, exactly.
Follow the book and make it like it was back in the day.
Gassers originated in the 1950s. They were production cars modified for drag racing. The name gasser comes from how they were powered by gasoline rather than alcohol or nitromethane. The NHRA Rule Book defined race car classes and addressed safety measures and had to be followed if you wanted to race. What a great challenge to use the rule book as an instruction sheet to build by.
So all the trunk is all handmade, including the underside of the trunk lid and the hinges. There's a battery in the trunk, which was typical of the era to try and balance the weight of the torque that wanted, one side of the car to lift. The engine is based on parts that are available, but a lot of scratch building of exhaust and stuff. The hood hinges to go down, and it has inner fender wells, which nobody would do now, but in '62 they were necessary.
Yeah.
They were like a splash pad. So the doors open and close. There's front suspension and springs that are made of aluminum strips and tubing and stuff like that. So all the steering, happens as it should. There's a steering rod that actually moves. That is the steering works and the steering box. There's the legal things for keeping a drive shaft in position if it broke. There's all just following the rules, right? Some of them seem goofy, but they're just what I wanted to do.
Yeah. How'd you get started?
Oh, my brother and I have been building models since we were 10 years old, like every other post-war baby boomer kid. Well, it started out with friends giving us a model airplane, and then when we could graduate to cars, which we really wanted, and that happened one Christmas when we were given some money to buy a kit of our choice, that was the beginning of automotive modeling. Badly, but fun, right?
Cliff and his brother, Larry Reed, like to use die-cast as raw material for an array of beautiful, highly detailed models. When I asked if the hunt for the appropriate die-cast is part of the fun, Cliff answered that in many ways it's the other way around. A derelict die-cast just comes along inexpensively and somehow inspires the creative juices to save the model from the parts bin.
It's a lot of fabrication and a lot of really, really fine detail, as you will find on any of his models. Can you point out your hold down for the battery?
Oh yeah. In the back, there's a battery hold on. You were allowed a truck battery of no more than 150 pounds. And a truck battery was bigger than a car battery, but they used the biggest they could get. They wanted the weight bias in the back.
Yep.
But I had to make a wing nut or a fake wing nut to hold the battery down, just like you would require, because the battery can't be rolling around in the trunk. The trunk interior and the interior of the car are all aluminum sheet wherever I could for lightweight, and obviously to clean up a car that was probably by then, 7 years old and rusty. So they would clean out the thing. It has bucket seats, which were legal. The engine is set back 10%. It's just trying to follow the rules.
All that stuff you get to read the rule book and design your car.
Yeah.
And not have all the heavy lifting of a real one.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Fast, quickly done.
Yeah.
All the pleasure without the pain.
Cliff has told me that although he and Larry build in both plastic and metal, they have accumulated lots of equipment and knowledge while restoring various full-size cars, and they tend to prefer the durability of professional-grade materials. Over the last 15 years, their metal projects haven't deteriorated at all. while the plastic projects have sometimes suffered. Cliff points out that a steerable and sprung straight front axle is considerably stronger when fabricated in brass or aluminum than in styrene. Cliff shares with us a tip for working in metal.
You work a lot of the time modifying die cast.
Yeah, we enjoy that.
It extends beyond what you can get in resin or as a kit.
Often, yeah.
When you bond two pieces of Zamac or zinc or whatever,
Yeah.
what do you use?
Typically, we try to use a mechanical fastener of some kind. And the mechanical fastener can be a fine screw that can be ground away once it's made its purchase on the other part.
Sure, it goes in, sacrifice the head. And
Yeah,
grind it
exactly.
off.
Or drill and put brass rod into the two parts. You never want to sort of have a butt weld of glue.
Yeah.
You want to have something that's really a mechanical sort of doesn't want to give up, right?
Right, which
So-
keeps it from shifting.
Exactly, yeah.
But you then
It keeps it from separating too. What you do is on the brass rod, you just with snips, but not snipping through, just make rough spots on it so that it has some purchase in what it goes into, right?
Right.
It's just,
that binds it
we've
in.
never had anything come apart.
Thank you to Cliff for sharing this build with us. There is a unique satisfaction in committing to historical accuracy and immersing oneself in the details. Next time you come across an old diecast, consider the possibilities. Consider it a challenge. Let us know in the comments if you've ever modified one. Like, subscribe, and ring the bell. We've got more videos in the works. Follow your muse wherever you may find it. May there always be a project on your bench. Thanks for watching.